Okay, Dr. Hill, your journey to Hardin-Simmons University, how did you end up getting here to teach and do all that you do here in Abilene?
There was a guy named Bill Curtis. His mom was my high school biology teacher. We grew up 4 streets and 20 years apart in Grand Prairie. And when I was finishing up my PhD, Bill knew that I'd gone to Baylor. He felt like I was a good fit, and he reached out to me and said, "We have an opening." I came out and interviewed and got the job.
What do you love about economics? Because I was an economics major, and I love economics, but you not only love it, you eat, breathe, everything. What is it?
My mom, I grew up in a single family home. My mom was a landlord, and her day was teaching school during the day, and in the evenings landlording. And with her, time was money, money was time. And growing up, I never dreamt there was a field of economics where you're actually putting a dollar value on almost every action. And when I got to school and discovered it, I thought, this has been the conversation of our household for the last 18 years. And it just clicked. It was just a natural thing.
What is it that you love about teaching, though? Because you've got economics, but teaching economics is different than just doing economics.
I hate to compare students to a flip house, but I think that's with all of us. All of us have elements that need improvement, elements of brokenness, elements that could be improved. And I really love the process of bringing somebody in an introductory economics class, exposing them to the material, moving them forward to those intermediate classes, and then finally getting them to the end where they can take this thing and make judgment with it. And it's the same thing as a flip house. You bring something where you give somebody a home at the end that they can buy and live in and enjoy, and giving something to someone where you bring them through a field of knowledge and they've got something that they similarly can use for the rest of their life.
I'm going to let you brag on some of your students, because your students enjoy time with you, but they're also very proud of you that they've gotten to know you and learn from you. Go through a list off the top of your head. Name some students that have come through that now are doing some things.
Oh golly. Going back to the appropriately named Adam Smith, who was a Fulbright scholar in my first year here. Joe Mitchell, Math McCarthy. I mean, those were students that were like early on in my time here that were great. We drove up to Canyon one weekend for a student paper competition and had a blast. Frederick Castleberry, you have to look him up online. He was an econ major and has now got his own line of clothing. Brady Collier and B.J. Walters were both students with him. One's a minister. One is, I guess, an informal minister, but also a real estate broker up in Lubbock. But all those guys ran around together. Connor Nielsen, Laurent Makesud, Josh White, also under my broker's license in Dallas under the name Close Real Estate, which was really just something that we put together for them. Liberty Autumn up in Amarillo also, and then Chase Crenwelge, who's got your training. He's an attorney down in San Antonio on your board of young associates. They're all part of Close Real Estate, and so there have been a lot of students across time. Jeff Ridley, who was a soccer player here. Just this afternoon, Tanner Cope, who is an alumnus of the school and works in private equity, was in town going out to see Chris Seal out at FDLIC. And so it's great to see people back on campus. It's always great to connect with them when I'm out of town. And there have been a lot of really meaningful students across the years, and I appreciate Hardin-Simmons to be a part of their life and help them as they move forward from college to what comes next.
You bought a building. I remember this early on when I got here. Tell me about the building that you bought and what you did.
Well, like I said, I'm kind of in the house flipping business, and somebody approached me about this warehouse and said, you know, I think the family has just given up the ghost on this thing because it's just way too much work. And I think after I bought it, I understood what they were feeling, because I would get in there at night and it was almost as if the welding equipment would just have babies at night, and there'd be more welding equipment, more records, more shelves full of stuff, more equipment, more tools. It was, as an economist, it was a blast to work with, because I love markets and I love making markets, and to be a part of this warehouse where there's so much stuff that the guy who had it said that he was an eBay salesman, but I really think that was just another word for hoarder. Okay. That I'm dealing with this hoard and I'm trying to make it marketable so that I can clean it out and then sell this thing and fix it up. It was a lot of fun because there were a lot of people that came through there I hadn't seen in a long time. A lot of students came back through too to check it out. But it was probably the most insane flip job that I have ever been through.